All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here to talk about radical self care. Every month, we're here with the one and only Dr. Lisa Yeung. Lisa is a family medicine doctor and medical director on the front lines. She was on the front lines of the pandemic. She supported the cool chicks throughout the whole pandemic, answering any and all our questions about health, COVID, and wellness. She's also a holistic, she has a holistic approach around prevention and wellness, and which kind of led her into the life of being a life coach now. She has personally seen, like, she has not only used it personally for herself and her patients, she has walked the talk. That's what I'm trying to say. She has walked the talk. I've seen her own growth and transformation, and I'm so happy that she is now sharing her wisdom through her coaching and helping them and helping you, helping me, helping us live our best lives. She really lives and embodies what she teaches. She shares and everything that she coaches, and she's really able to individualize each teaching to each person. And I really love that about Lisa. So today is kind of part 3 of radical self-care and true wellness. So please participate. Please add on the comments if you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, or anything gets triggered with what Lisa is saying, any ideas gets triggered, then please put them in your comments, and we'll see them here on screen, and we'll go through them as much and address them as much as we can. And if we don't, we'll definitely answer them in future sessions. But let's go for it. Without any further ado, please help me with a drum roll to bring on Dr. Lisa Yeung. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jessica, so much for being here and for those wonderful words. I am so excited to continue this conversation. It initially started as, I thought it would be one short talk, and then more and more topics have come up and people have asked lots of questions. So I'm excited to continue this topic with everyone, which I think is really important. So thank you. Excited to be here with everyone.
Yes, super excited to be here. We have with us Angie, we have Carla Rose, we have Christine. Oh my goodness, so nice to see you. Love you, love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you for being here and testing out the comments. Hey there, hey there. All right. Okay, so let's start. For those of us maybe who haven't been on the past calls, let's kind of recap about what we've talked so far. What is radical self-care and true wellness? So we kind of know what we're starting, what you mean by that.
Great, thank you so much. So radical self-care, and to me, I was trying to think about what I meant when I said this, because I wanted to differentiate from. I mean, we hear self-care all over the place. We use it. It's a term that's used very often. And what do I really mean when I say radical self-care? Because I'm trying to differentiate it from some of maybe what we've typically think of for self-care. And so my definition that I came up with was consciously and consistently providing what your mind, body, and spirit needs in any given moment to truly thrive and flourish, no matter what. And I chose all of those words very consciously and intentionally because it's not just about doing it when you're totally depleted. It's about doing it all the time, consistently, and providing it for all areas of your life, your mind, your body, and your spirit all the time, so that you're not just surviving, but also flourishing. And in fact, I also wanted to define true wellness as thriving, and not just surviving, not just getting by, but thriving in every area of your life. And I had defined a few different areas of your life, or brought them up in one of their first talks, as physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and meaning that you would want to thrive in all of these areas, not just one or a couple, but all of them.
I was having trouble unmuting myself. Technical difficulties. Oopsies. Oh my goodness, I absolutely. Oh, we have some more. Jose coming on. Hello, present. Yes, radical self care. Hi there. Hi. Yes. So, why is this so important, Lisa?
So I think we all know on some level that self-care is really important. And so just to summarize, we went into this a little bit more on our first talk. But just to summarize, it's not only important for our health and our wellness, like I just defined. So our overall well-being, our physical health and things like that. But it's also, ironically, right, counterintuitively, ultimately will allow us to save time and money and energy, and therefore be even more productive and creative and have higher energy levels. And with all of those things, which a lot of times we think it's the opposite, right? If we take more time to take care of ourselves, it'll take too much time, more energy, but it's in fact the opposite. And we went into some of those more details in our previous talks. But in fact, all of these things, if you really practice radical self-care, you will save time, money, energy, you'll be more productive, more in flow, and therefore be your best self. And from being your best self, you'll be able to live your best life. And that's something that I've started to learn and implement myself in my life. And I only really started to understand it on a really deeper level myself, and that's why I decided to share this topic with you guys.
Yay! Oh, and I know that you've embodied it so well in the past few years. I mean, we've known each other for a while now, and it is something that you practice daily, and you share, and you implement, and any hiccups, anything that you've actually experienced them yourself, and everything that you are sharing is something that you've experienced, that you've worked with other colleagues in, and you've worked really a lot on. And work is maybe not the right word. So one of the things that I really want to recommend to people do is, if you want to get a little deeper onto what we mean by self-care and radical wellness, radical self-care and true wellness, and dive deeper into the topic with Lisa, is go and check out the Facebook, on Facebook, I think in your page, right, Lisa, or on the Cool Chick Cafe page, there are the recordings of last month's and the month before. So Lisa does this every single month, and you can watch the recordings. I highly recommend that you go on there if you missed some of the details, and just get, or even if you were there and want a little refresher, I think that's super helpful. Even if you've already heard it, it does not hurt to hear it again and kind of get more aligned with your radical self-care and true wellness. All right, some questions have come up. Is it okay that I bring those up now?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome. So one of the things that we looked at is baby steps, right? Baby steps. What baby steps do you suggest to break the inertia of not taking extreme care, or even basic care for that matter, right? Because a lot of us, we're in that pattern. We're in that habit of, maybe putting everybody else first, and not going to bed at the time we want to go to bed, or like little things, and not putting ourselves first, not putting our well-being first, and then feeling depleted, like Angie said in the comments earlier on. Right? So what are the baby steps that you suggest on that?
So I love this question because of the word inertia in it, actually. And I want to take a moment to pause there, because I've gotten a lot of questions after doing these talks. Well, how do I do this, right? And what I've noticed in my patients and my coaching clients alike, most of the time, it's not about not knowing how to do something or what you need to do, for example, to lose weight or be more healthy, as a simple example, right? I think we all know the steps in theory to take in order to do that. But what is actually preventing us from doing it? And with my patients and my coaching clients alike, it's not about not knowing how usually. It's more about there's something else that is causing that inertia, that this, I believe it was Carlos that posted this question, the inertia of actually taking those steps. And usually what I find is that there are subconscious beliefs or thoughts that are underlying that. And there are reasons, therefore, that we don't take the steps that we know will make us feel better or know will make us happier and things like that. And so a simple example, for example, a slightly different topic, but one of my coaching clients. She, in fact, is a coach herself. She started off the call saying, I know that I need to quit my job. It's not fulfilling me. I've known this for several months now, and I don't know why, but I can't get myself to do it. I keep thinking I will do it. I know it'll make me so much happier. I just can't do it. And then as I'm coaching her, I said, well, okay, do you mind if we try to dive a little bit deeper? And as I'm asking her different questions, and this is where coaching can be helpful, because we all have blind spots and we don't realize some of the things that are driving our behaviors, and a lot of it is subconscious. And so as I'm asking her different questions and probing a little bit deeper as her coach, all of a sudden we went from needing to quit her job and not being able to do that, and realizing that in fact after layers were peeled off, that it had more to do with whether or not she deserved love. So on the surface level, you would think those two were not related. But the moment that we hit, when we asked the question and we came to that, she's like, oh my God, I feel like you just stabbed me in the heart. And that's where it is. And so we focused on that, on whether or not she thought she deserved love and the things that she thought she needed to do, including this job, in order to deserve love. And so once we worked on that as her coach, then everything else fell apart. And at the end, she was like, oh my God, now it's easy. Of course I can quit my job because I deserve love and I don't need other people. And so the same thing applies here for radical self-care, right? So a lot of times we may have subconscious beliefs that are holding us back from actually taking the steps, taking the moment to ourselves in the morning, taking the time that we need to get enough sleep, like Jessica mentioned. And so some of these things, it is very individual. So that's where coaching can help you, right? In terms of uncovering what may be underneath it. But for me, for example, I realized in my own journey that I had a belief that life is all about work. And then I need to achieve and accomplish, in order to feel loved, but also in order to be worthy. And that's where my worthiness was wrapped up in. And so of course, if I was taking care of myself, I wasn't working, I wasn't accomplishing, then I wasn't worthy. And so therefore my life wasn't worth living, right? And so it's kind of these things that it just seems so absurd, but we all have some of these things. And it could be, as the first layer could be, I don't have time to, one of the common beliefs that I hear is that I don't have time, which is what I thought too. I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have time for this radical self-care or to truly be well, right? Or or there are lots of different misconceptions that we have, or I should be doing work. And so then even if we do take time to take care of ourselves, then we beat ourselves up for it, right? Because I should be living life this way. And so there's all these beliefs that are like the first layer, let's say, about self-care and what it means. Self-care is selfish. So if we believe that subconsciously, then how could we ever feel good about taking care of ourselves? And we may not even realize that we believe that on subconscious level, but that's when we start to give away our time or energy, and we start prioritizing everyone first, which is great because all of us want to help other people. But if we deplete ourselves, then we don't have anything left to give to other people. We're not giving other people their best of ourselves. So let me just take a dial. There's so much that I want to share here. And so let me try to be more concise in answering this question. So I wanted to say that the important piece that I want to point out in this question is the inertia, because most of us know what to do for the most part, and what would help us feel better, be more well, be more healthy. And the reason why we're not taking those steps usually has to do with some subconscious belief that is driving our behavior. And in terms of uncovering those beliefs, having a coach that can start to dig a little bit deeper with you and ask you the types of questions you might not even ask yourself, like I had shared the example of, can help. And in the meantime, if you don't have a coach yet, then some baby steps you could take, for example, for yourself, is just perhaps several times a day, just take a pause and just think, take a moment, take a few deep breaths, And just in any given moment of what you're doing, if you notice, what do I need right now? And why am I not giving it to myself? Right. And so, for example, if you think, oh, I'm really tired and I really want to take a nap. Well, so what is preventing you in that moment from taking that nap? So you could try to uncover some of these beliefs yourself. And so for myself, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm really tired. I wish I could put my head down and take a nap, but I have so much work to do. I can't afford to do it. Right. And those are the voices in my head telling me some of the beliefs that are running it. And so then I might deplete myself and not take that nap. And so those are maybe tiny baby steps that you can take for now to uncover the beliefs. And once you uncover and have the awareness of what the beliefs are that are driving your behavior, then you can address it in a way that you'll be able to sustain um, this behavior longer term. Hopefully that answers the question.
It totally does, and it kind of leads me to our next question. Like, how do you know what it is that your needs are, right? Like, we're talking about taking a nap. I love napping. But the thing is, like, and this is an example for me 100%. Like, yesterday I tidied a lot and it felt so good. I threw away trash, like bags of trash, right? And it's like I would have the tendency of maybe going for a nap instead and procrastinating about tidying my office, right? So do you have any recommendations? So here's the question. Do you have any recommendations for how to consistently stay in tune with our own needs? So for example, how do I know if I need a nap or I need to be cleaning my office?
So I love this question because in it, I can hear myself, or my old self at least, right? And what I realize is a lot of times we're in our head, we're in our mind. And often we have this, at least for me, I had this long, like never ending list of things that I needed to do or should be doing. And and that always, and at least the old me, it always got in the way of or prevented me from really taking the care that I needed for myself. And I started to burn myself out. And in fact, I was totally burned out, especially when I was a medical director on the front lines, like because I just kept I had this list. I just had to keep going, right? And so for me, what's made the biggest difference, and I've noticed for my coaching clients too, is really the question asked how to consistently stay in tune with your own needs is about moving from your mind to your body, because your body will have the answer. And so what's helped me, there's lots of different techniques that I can share on a future call, but even just something as simple as just pausing, taking a few deep breaths, and clearing your mind, maybe a brief meditation. But even if you don't have the time for that, even 3 deep grounding breaths, and then feeling into your body. If you were trying to do this yourself and without a coach, I would say, kind of as a follow-up to that last question also, when you do that and you ground yourself in your body, then ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? What will fill me up the most? And not answer from your mind. Our mind is very powerful. There are lots of voices in there, but answer from what comes. It arises from your body. And so in this example, I believe it was maybe Allison that asked this question. How do I know if I need a nap or I need to be cleaning my office? And so if in that moment your body tells you, oh, I'm really tired, I really feel like I want to take a nap, then listen to it and give yourself permission. That is actually one of the biggest things that I would say for me and for a lot of other people is giving yourself permission to do what you really need in that moment, to take care of yourself in that moment. For me, this was one of the hardest pieces because it's like, oh, but I should this, I should that, and I need to do my work, and other people are depending on me, and all of a sudden it's like, it's gone. I'm not going to do it because I didn't give myself permission. I have all these other reasons why not to, right? So in this example, if your body says I need to take the nap, then take the nap. And then in fact, when you are done taking the nap, you will feel much better and probably more more filled up and be able to clear your office so much faster and more easily than had you tried to do that first. Because if you did it the other way around, when what you really needed is a nap, you probably would have taken much longer to clean the office, felt miserable while you're doing it, and probably crashed afterwards, right? And then needed even longer of a nap. And so this is one example of really tuning in to your body, listening to it, hearing what it needs, and then also giving yourself permission to be able to honor it.
So powerful, and it's true. So I love that exercise of breathing in, like taking deep breaths and just listening to your body. Like you intuitively will know. And as you mentioned, you have other tools, other ways of doing that. And so we can talk about that at a later date. And I love these comments that are coming in. I'm just going to be sharing some of them. So true, Seth goes, we have to first support ourselves. Angie says, having a wonderful, attuned coach to ask the questions is radical self-care. Yes, and you have one right here with Dr. Lisa Yeung. So you can contact her privately, or we'll be sharing on how to stay in touch with Lisa towards the end of this session. But we also have Angie, very true. When you are led to your own answers through the path of questions or perspective, the result is almost immediate. Yes, yes, yes. And then Lisa was that for me. So Lisa was Angie. You're Angie's coach, correct? Or you've coached her through it.
Yeah, I've done some coaching. I'm not sure what she was referring to, but yes, I've coached. I've had the honor and privilege of being able to coach Angie through some things, and it's been really powerful. And I've really enjoyed the journey with her.
Fantastic. And you are answering the question. We have a Facebook member it does answer by baby steps to radical self-care, finding the time and space, energy priority to focus on self of myself. Amazing. All right. So this leads us to our next question, or kind of section, where it's what concrete tips do you have for us to practice this, right? Because it's a practice. It's not like it's something that we do once and then that's it. You don't only eat one time and then you're set for life, right? It's like, oh, I eat once a month. No, you don't go to the gym just once a year, right? It's like, what do we do to practice radical self-care in a way that's sustainable? I would even add to that question.
Thank you so much for saying that, Jessica, because it's so important. This is not a one and done thing. This is something that I'm still working on. I've come a long way. And I think that if the more that we give ourselves grace as we're doing it, allow ourselves small wins, for example, setting ourselves up for success, the more that we'll be able to really step into our best selves through radical self-care and our most well selves, and therefore live our best lives. And this question in itself, I think, could be a whole nother talk. And so I will touch on it, and perhaps we can go into it more detail in our next talk, and or maybe I will create a workshop or something for you guys. I do a couple of things that I would say for now. The first step is uncovering those uncovering what is preventing you from taking care of yourself, like I had mentioned first. So like the subconscious beliefs that may be holding you back, and that could be doing it, trying to figure it out on your own, or working with a coach in order to do that, because that is what has the most leverage. And once you unlock that, like I unlocked deserving love for that other client I mentioned, then everything else falls into place easily, and you don't feel like you're pushing against something in order to just take care of yourself. And then once you uncover some of those, then it's more about creating the habits. And we can go all into how do you create habits and setting yourself up for success in the next talk. But periodically, several times a day at least, tuning into your body, like I had described, and listening to what you need. And what I would also, another point that I want to, that came up through some feedback, some comments last time that I didn't get a chance to address, is I want to point out the difference between numbing and distracting things that you do to numb and distract yourself versus things that you do to take care of yourself.
Like a lot of napping.
So sometimes what we can find ourselves, I've noticed a lot of people, you can find ourselves, we all do it, right? We might be scrolling through social media or mindlessly scrolling through social media or watching a show mindlessly or doing things, but that aren't really filling our cup. But we're doing it because we're numbing or distracting from something else. It could be from the overwhelm that we have from, or the stress that we have from the work we need to do, or maybe something really emotional that's happened in your life and you're not really facing those emotions and therefore you're numbing and distracting. But what happens is that when you're numbing and distracting, it's not actually filling your cup. And I had to learn that myself. And so the distinction between that and true radical self-care is very different. So I want people to just learn that. And you know for yourself what is numbing and distracting and what is actually filling your cup. And so one concrete tip that I would give is before you're doing any activity, perhaps take a few seconds just to pause and think, well, why am I doing this? And what will it provide me? And maybe even setting an intention. If it's work, if it's cleaning the office, like we mentioned earlier, if the intention is like, oh my God, if I do this, and my place will be so much cleaner and my mind will be so much clearer and I will be excited and I'll feel good in my space, then oh my God, then going into it also with that intention totally shifts it from, oh, I need to clean my office to this is something I'm doing for me.
So you're looking at not only does it feel good to be doing it, but what does it provide?
Mm-hmm. So I would say, and setting an intention before the activity, and then also after you're doing something, take a moment to think about, well, how do I feel now after I've done that for myself? And so this is the piece where all of there's not one formula. There's not one formula for everybody that's going to work, right? Everyone's very individual in terms of the different things that will help them fill their cup. And so this is one concrete tip where throughout the day, if you take a moment, or even at the end of the day, reflecting and saying, well, when I was watching TV for like 3 hours, how did I feel afterwards? Versus when I took the time to do some meditation, how did I feel afterwards? And then using that to bring more awareness to the type of activities that actually fill you up or deplete you, and then creating a menu of options that you can choose from that at any given moment that fill your cup, especially now in the time of COVID and pandemic and certain activities being restricted. People, I think we may need to be a little bit more creative about certain types of activities. And so creating for yourself, another tip would be creating for yourself a menu of things that can really fill your cup. Some of them could take a few seconds. Some of them could be an hour massage, but it could be a huge menu that you can choose from that will help you feel great. And then you can do it whatever you feels right in any given moment. So those are a few very preliminary tips.
I have one good tip. May I share it?
Sure.
Go on to Dr. Lisa Yeung's Facebook group. Join that. That's easy, super easy. You can do it right now. Right now, you can just open a new tab on your computer or on your phone and go to facebook.com/group/Dr. Lisa Yeung, Dr. Lisa Yeung, Yeung. If you're listening to this without looking at the screen, make sure that you follow Lisa and join the group because she keeps sharing some really amazing things on there to help you and remind you of radical self-care and wellness. Lisa, how can people reach out to you, follow you, get more information on your coaching? And what's next? What are the next steps?
So if anyone's interested in coaching, I'm happy to offer. You can send me a direct message through Facebook or through my Instagram if you don't have Facebook, which is at Yeung Doc. And just send me a message there, and I'm happy to set up a free call just to discuss and explore the possibilities of what coaching would look like and the types of things that we could delve in together, specific and catered to you. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to hear and chat with you and offer a free call. And then in terms of what's next for our next coffee break or coming up in terms of this topic, I plan to dive a lot more deeply into the how, like we were talking about. So we talked a little bit about limiting beliefs or subconscious beliefs that are driving us, and now more concrete steps about how do you address burnout, for example, or how do you and the different steps that you take in order to really embody this radical self-care. How do you form the habits that you need so that it becomes easy and second nature as opposed to something that you work on? So those are things that you can look forward to. We'll let you know when the next talk is. And yeah, I'm excited just to hear. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yes, really excited to hear what you have to say on the next talk, but really that's like over a month. So in the meantime, please everybody go to this link right here, facebook.com/groups, Dr. Lisa Yeung, Yeung, Dr. Lisa Yeung. Find her on Facebook, find her on Instagram at youngdoc.com, at youngdoc.com. On Instagram. Gosh, this shows that I am not young and hip anymore. But that's okay. Radical self-care and following your joy. Thank you so much, Angie, Sev. We had some members of the Cool Chick Cafe, users on Facebook that we don't see the names, but thank you for being here. Jose, Christine, Carla Rose. So good to have you on live with us here today. And keeping time integrity, join us on the Facebook group. And in the meantime, any final words before we go?
I'm just so glad to be able to share this with you guys, because it's something that I've really come to learn myself recently. And even though I was a doctor practicing family medicine, all about wellness and prevention, and I knew the things to do, it's only until recently that I'm really fully embodying it. And so I'm excited that I get the chance to share with you guys some of the things that I learned. So hopefully I can save you some time and be able to help you be the most well that you can and live your best life.
Yes. So if you want to be happy, joyful, full of energy, a better person, not only for yourself, for everybody else in the world, and to live your purpose and live fully, follow Dr. Lisa Yeung on Facebook. All right. Love you. Take care. Mwah. Big hug. And thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing all your amazing, amazing knowledge with the world. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you. Thanks, Ab.
Bye.
Bye.